I've been great. How about yourself?
I've been well. Is there anything you would like to talk about in today's session?
I might be switching jobs.
Oh, explain more about that.
I used to be a general contractor building hotels.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, I worked for my grandpa, so the pay wasn't really great. He was kind of paying me out of his pocket to train me. And this time around, I'm working directly for the owner with my experience. So it should be pretty good.
Sounds exciting. So what does this job entail?
I manage the entire construction process from the underground to the roof. Plumbing, framing, roofing, electrical, everything. I organize the subs, order the materials.
So how do you feel about this new undertaking?
I think it'll be good. Like I said last time, I wasn't making very good money. This time I should be making pretty good money, about double what I am now.
Is there any more opportunity for growth in that?
Well, I'll eventually get my license for general contracting, and then I can take it anywhere in the country. And pretty much anybody will take me.
Sounds interesting. What do you do now for work?
I run a detail shop for automotive detailing.
And how do you like that?
I don't. It doesn't pay very well. It's a big headache.
Why is it such a big headache?
We have several different departments within our company, and they don't communicate very well, which leads to a lot of double bookings and unforeseen scheduling issues.
So does that make your job a little bit difficult?
Yeah, I have 50 or more cars a day to keep track of and have service done. It's not very fun when they throw in an extra half dozen.
Okay, so what do you do? I'm assuming there's a lot of stress involved with that then?
Sometimes, nobody's going to die or anything. Our service comes out late, but we do have unhappy customers.
How do you deal with those unhappy customers?
I send them off to somebody else if I can. I don't have the patience to deal with.
You don't have the patience?
No, not very often. Usually the only customers who have complaints are the ones who are completely unreasonable about things.
Customer service is kind of a hard job then.
Yeah.
So you don't have any patience for that. Does that lead into other things in your life?
Not necessarily. I distance myself from people who are unreasonable, so I don't really have that problem.
So you distance yourself from people?
People I don't like, yeah. It's kind of a waste of my time to be around people whose company I don't enjoy.
But within customer service, it's kind of seeable.
Yeah, definitely.
So what do you do with your free time then?
Not much. Like I said, I don't make a whole lot, so can't go out very often. Usually I just sit home, make dinner, and watch TV with my pretty girlfriend.
So your job now has kind of held you back from doing things that you enjoy?
Yeah, a fair amount. I mean, I can still get out and hike or do free and cheap things. But
How will this new job go along with that?
It'll work out a lot better. Like I said, I'll be making close to twice what I am now. So I'll be a lot more comfortable on the bills. Can afford to go out once in a while.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any plans of, like, you said you're going to get your general contracting license? What does that entail?
It's, you got a book about this thick full of Indiana's construction codes, zoning codes. You have to, not necessarily memorize it, but read through it fairly well, and then you go and you have a 3-hour open book test.
Mm-hmm.
It's more a fee than anything, like any licensing.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty passable then.
Yeah.
Are you worried about it at all?
No, not in the slightest. I'm not even paying the fees to take the test, so even if it takes me twice, that first time, just see what the test is like and know which areas to study up on.
Do you plan on taking that any further?
No. I mean, there's not a whole lot further to go unless you want to be like an inspector or something, which I'm not really interested in.
Okay. So as far as like working, so you'll be working with family then?
Sometimes. My grandpa is working directly for the corporate office now, which is where I will be working for. So he'll be above me, but I'll only see him maybe once a week. Versus my first project, he was there every day.
And how did you like working with him?
It was nice. He's been doing it a long time, so he knows what he's doing. I never got to spend a ton of time with him as a kid, so it's pretty nice. And then also his son, my mom's half-brother, he did the same thing I was doing at the time. And after his project finished, he came over and helped on mine for a while. So it was the same thing. I hardly ever saw him as a kid. Didn't really even know him before the job started.
So were you not close with your family then as a kid, or can you elaborate a little bit?
Well, my mom moved out of town. They're from Hartford City, Marion. She came up to the big city. They never came up, so it was holidays, special occasions, things like that mostly.
And how did that make you feel?
I mean, I never really minded it. It was more just saw it as a treat when we can go down there. So.
What was it like growing up as a kid?
It was okay. My parents divorced young, so it was kind of... And my dad moved a lot, so I was never like in one place for too long. Always within 100 town. Always kind of house to house, finding different options.
And how was that?
Again, I didn't really mind it too much. Most of it we were bouncing around in the more rural areas, so it's not like I had neighbor kids anyway. And then towards high school or middle school, we moved into more to the downtown 100-town area.
So how old were you when the divorce happened?
I want to say like 3 or 4. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember a whole lot of it.
So
or of the split anyway.
The divorce kind of made things tough then?
Not necessarily, I don't think. Like I said, I don't remember a whole lot of before, so it's just kind of how it always was.
So do you get along with both your parents then?
Yeah. I've never really had much of a problem with either. My dad was kind of hard on me as a kid, but I got over that. I was an asshole too, so.
So he was an asshole then?
Sometimes.
And why was that?
He had a short temper, and he liked things done his way. So.
And that had to be tough as a kid.
Yeah, I was kind of a rebel with nothing to rebel against, so those kind of little dumb things really put me on edge.
They put you on edge, so can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
I had nothing else to really complain about, so that was made it seem like a big issue as a kid when I was teens.
So you had a pretty good childhood then?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we were never rich or anything, but we always ate.
Well, that's good. So, and then siblings?
Siblings, I got a lot. I have a brother, like a full brother. And then after the split, both parents remarried. And on my mom's side, I got a stepsister, and then later on a half sister.
Mm-hmm.
Then on my dad's side, I got 2 brothers, or 2 half brothers, and a half sister.
Okay, so with like these new relationships, how do you get along with your step parents?
Again, they were around since I was like really little, so I barely know anything different.
Mm-hmm.
So I get along with them pretty well.
Ever rebel against them?
No, they're both kind of more the step parent that's like, I don't know, talk to your dad. Kinda. They keep step parent boundaries. But.
Mm-hmm. So you have a girlfriend and she has a son, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how do you feel about being a step parent towards her son?
I'm okay with it. He's a pretty good kid. So it's not like I really see him growing up to be an asshole or hate me just for being a stepdad or anything.
Now, would you take like what you kind of learned from your step parents and kind of